The ongoing feud between boxing legends Roy Jones Jr. and Floyd Mayweather Jr. has captured the attention of the boxing world, sparking debates about legacy, greatness, and personal rivalries. What began as a war of words on social media has escalated into a public confrontation, with the two icons clashing at an event, requiring intervention from other boxing professionals to keep the situation from boiling over. This unexpected escalation has fans and analysts buzzing about whether this beef could lead to a fight, professional or exhibition, and what it means for their respective legacies. The tension stems from a mix of professional disagreements, personal jabs, and differing philosophies about what defines greatness in boxing. While both fighters have left indelible marks on the sport, their contrasting approaches and recent exchanges have reignited discussions about their careers and who truly stands above the other. The conflict gained momentum when Roy Jones Jr. appeared on the All the Smoke Fight podcast with Andre Ward on June 17, 2025, where he made bold claims about another boxing great, Sugar Ray Leonard. Jones argued that Leonard, in his prime, would have defeated Mayweather, emphasizing Leonard's ferocity and heart in the ring. He described Leonard as a dog, implying a level of tenacity and grit that he believes Mayweather lacked. Jones acknowledged Mayweather's skill but questioned whether he had the same level of heart as Leonard, noting that Mayweather was never truly tested in the way Leonard was. These comments struck a nerve with Mayweather, who responded on July 6 by posting videos on his Instagram story showing Jones getting knocked out in past fights. The move was a clear shot, leveraging Jones' losses to undermine his credibility. Jones didn't take kindly to Mayweather's trolling. On July 9, he fired back with an Instagram post, addressing fight fans directly and acknowledging the ongoing back and forth. He made it clear he was ready to settle the score, stating, "If you want to prove you're better than me, I'm always ready." Jones dismissed the idea of an exhibition match, insisting that any fight between them should be a professional bout, saying, "We both fight for real. What are we going to play for?" This response underscored Jones' belief that their rivalry is too serious for a mere exhibition and that a real fight is the only way to resolve their differences. The roots of this feud go beyond recent exchanges. Jones has long been critical of Mayweather's career choices, particularly his timing in facing certain opponents. During an interview on Ring Champs with AK and Barack, Jones questioned Mayweather's claim to being the greatest of all time. He argued that Mayweather's most notable victories, such as his 2015 fight against Manny Pacquiao, came when his opponents were past their prime. Jones pointed out that Pacquiao had been knocked out by Juan Manuel Marquez in 2012, suggesting that Mayweather waited until Pacquiao was no longer at his peak to face him. He compared this to his own career, noting that he fought James Toney in 1994 when Toney was at his best, not after he had been defeated. Jones believes this distinction matters when assessing greatness, as beating an opponent in their prime carries more weight. Jones also omitted Mayweather from his all-time top 5 boxers, placing him in the top 10 but not among the elite. He argued that greatness isn't just about an undefeated record or financial success, but about the quality of opponents and the impact a fighter has on the sport. For Jones, Muhammad Ali represents the gold standard of greatness, not only for his in-ring achievements but for his sacrifices outside the ring, including his stand against the Vietnam War. Jones declared that anyone who doesn't recognize Ali as the greatest lacks credibility in his eyes. Mayweather, in contrast, has often emphasized his perfect 50-0 record and his ability to maximize earnings, calling himself TBE, the best ever. This philosophical divide, legacy and impact versus stats and money, lies at the heart of their beef. Mayweather's response to Jones' critiques has been characteristically subtle yet cutting. Rather than directly addressing Jones' comments, he posted knockout clips of Jones, letting the visuals speak for themselves. This move was seen as a jab at Jones' vulnerability in the ring, particularly his losses to Antonio Tarver and others. Mayweather's approach reflects his reputation as a master of psychological warfare, using social media to provoke his rival without engaging in a verbal back and forth. However, his decision to highlight Jones' knockouts drew criticism from some, including Jake Paul, who defended Jones in a July 8 interview with Fight Hype. Paul called Jones a legend and argued that Mayweather's actions were disrespectful, adding that Jones in his prime was a different beast compared to Mayweather's consistent but less explosive career. The boxing community has been divided on the feud. Antonio Tarver, who defeated Jones twice, including a shocking knockout in their 2004 rematch, weighed in on the debate. Tarver argued that Jones' resume gives him an edge over Mayweather, particularly because Jones was viewed as unbeatable in his prime. He noted that during their overlapping careers, Mayweather was never mentioned in the same breath as Jones, who was seen as a dominant force across multiple weight classes. Tarver acknowledged Mayweather's undefeated record but suggested that Jones' peak was more impressive, as he was considered untouchable until Tarver defeated him. Manny Pacquiao, another boxing icon, took a more diplomatic stance when asked about the feud. In an interview with Fight Hype, Pacquiao refused to pick sides, emphasizing that both fighters' achievements should be respected without comparison. He expressed discomfort with the rivalry, urging unity and focusing on inspiring fans rather than ranking legacies. Pacquiao's perspective reflects his broader philosophy of sportsmanship, shaped by his own storied career and his upcoming fight against Mario Barrios on July 19, 2025. Unlike Mayweather, who has leaned into materialism, Pacquiao has prioritized faith and philanthropy, which he believes sets him apart. Fans have also chimed in, with social media buzzing about the feud. Some defend Mayweather, pointing to his perfect record and victories over top fighters like Canelo Alvarez, Oscar de la Hoya, and Pacquiao. They argue that Mayweather's strategic approach to his career, choosing the right fights at the right time, made him a master of the business side of boxing. Others side with Jones, noting his dominance across weight classes and his willingness to take on tough opponents in their prime. One fan sarcastically remarked that if Jones had taken easy fights like Mayweather, he might have been considered the greatest before Mayweather claimed the title. Another pointed out Jones' positive test for a banned substance in 2000, contrasting it with Mayweather's clean record. The debate over who had the better career hinges on how one defines greatness. Mayweather's 50-0 record is a testament to his defensive brilliance and ability to control fights. His victories over high-profile opponents, even if some were past their prime, generated massive pay-per-view revenue, culminating in the 2015 Pacquiao fight, the highest-grossing boxing event in history. Mayweather's focus on financial success and self-promotion made him a global brand, but critics like Jones argue that his selective matchmaking diminishes his legacy. Jones, meanwhile, was a multi-division champion known for his electrifying speed and power. His prime, particularly in the 1990s, saw him dominate opponents with a style that seemed untouchable until his later losses. However, his knockout defeats and positive drug test have been used by detractors to question his standing. The possibility of a fight between Jones and Mayweather remains speculative but tantalizing. Jones' insistence on a professional bout rather than an exhibition suggests he views this as a matter of pride, not just money. At 56, Jones is far removed from his prime, while Mayweather, at 48, has stayed active with exhibitions, including a rumored rematch with Pacquiao. A fight between the two would likely draw significant interest, but opinions vary on whether it would be a competitive matchup. Some believe Jones' size and explosiveness in his prime would overwhelm Mayweather, while others argue Mayweather's defensive mastery and ring IQ would prevail. Jake Paul leaned toward Jones, citing his prime as unmatched, but acknowledged Mayweather's consistency. The feud also highlights broader questions about boxing's evolution. Mayweather's career epitomized the modern era, where financial success and media presence often overshadow in-ring heroics. Jones, on the other hand, represents an older school of thought, where dominance and legacy were paramount. Their clash reflects this tension, with Jones accusing Mayweather of prioritizing money over greatness and Mayweather countering with reminders of Jones' vulnerabilities. The back-and-forth has no clear resolution, as both fighters remain steadfast in their views. As the boxing world watches, other figures have weighed in on the broader implications. Andre Ward, who hosted Jones on his podcast, respected his opinion but avoided fueling the feud, noting that every fighter should feel confident in their legacy. Pacquiao's call for unity stands out as a counterpoint to the divisiveness, urging fans and fighters to focus on the sport's positive impact. Meanwhile, fans continue to debate whether an undefeated record or a transformative legacy defines the greatest boxer. The Jones-Mayweather beef shows no signs of cooling down. Whether it leads to a fight or remains a war of words, it has reignited interest in two of boxing's biggest names. For now, Jones' challenge hangs in the air, and Mayweather's response, whether in the ring or on social media, will determine the next chapter. What's clear is that both fighters, despite their differences, have shaped boxing in profound ways, leaving fans to grapple with the question of what truly makes a legend.